Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And also keep in mind, these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy.
All right, folks, here we are on Monday, January 17th. We're going to take a look at ZEV or Lightning eMotors today. I got a request to cover ZEV, and I have played ZEV a few times in the past. It's been very sporadic, just during, quick trades when something was happening, but I thought it would be cool to take a look and see what's going on. Now, I'm here on the weekly, and I wanted to start on the weekly, put in a few trend lines, support and resistance levels, and then zoom into the daily, and then we'll see if it seems to warrant zooming in even further than that. But I thought that this could give us an idea of sort of where some larger trends lie, and then overlay that with the more say present day situation on the daily. Now, this downtrend resistance definitely stands out to me quite a bit. If it were able to break this downtrend resistance, which obviously as the price even just consolidates, this downtrend resistance continues to get nearer and nearer into the price. And if it were to just kind of run itself sideways for a while, it would just happen to bump into this over the summer, it looks like. And, that could spur some movement. It could also do this thing where it just kind of pops out of there and actually doesn't break and just kind of comes down and starts treating it as downtrend support. So that's always a sad situation when it looks like it's breaking some key level and then it just kind of sort of pulls a fast one on you and just says, I'm just going to keep following that down anyway. This level, which I know is very near into where the price is at the moment, but this is about 628, would be an important level to my mind for it to maybe compress within, this say descending triangle type formation, and see if that's able to spur any movement. So that'd be the first level that I look for it to try to flip from resistance to support at the moment. And then right about here, this is probably another solid level as you get closer into $7. So I know a lot of these end up pretty tight, but when a stock is drawn down this much and then kind of worked itself into a range here, which is also part of the key components at this point, is can it at least hold this range between, say, $6? I know it's dipped down below there recently, but it didn't really hold itself down there, or may not have. I guess we'll see what comes in the future days and weeks, but it may be compressing itself into this zone between, say, $6 and about $9, $9.50, which is a pretty big range, but could be a range nonetheless. It's had periods of time where it's gone quite parabolic, and it of course has this level here, which was support for a very, very long time, just below that $10 level, and you see that continuing to come into play in weeks subsequent to that run up. So that's all that I would try to glean from the weekly. Now, if we go to the 1 year here, that'll stick us on the daily, and you see a bunch of these levels falling in between those support and resistance zones that we just plotted, and so that, of course, making a bunch of sense. We see this big gap here, right, that it left when it had this plus 80% day in August of 2021, and it came down, partially filled that gap, tried to recover, and then recently has fully filled that gap. So I guess the question now to my mind would be, is there anything that could be coming in here? This is a second possibility of making slightly higher lows recently, and I guess here's the tricky thing, right? It would have been on this trajectory if we had done this video just a few days ago, and then it put in this candle. So to my mind, I like to go at these things a bit more conservatively, especially with the pressure that the overall market is in these days, and especially stocks that have been hit exceptionally hard. And there's a pretty solid slew of stocks that have been slammed by 50% or more recently, and those that are getting hit the hardest, I would be pretty conservative. Like me personally, I would be pretty conservative to say that they reverse trend or that they're like picking up steam or something like that, because those things are very, very hard to do, especially in market conditions that we currently find ourselves in. So I would probably keep this in a pretty conservative placement and say, okay, it may have blown this opportunity to hold this uptrend support given the trading candle from the last trading day. But I would make it kind of prove itself, right? On Tuesday, tomorrow, can it jump itself back up and continue following this uptrend? And if so, does that mean that it's able to carry through this 670 level and flip that from resistance to support? And if so, then is it able to do the same at the level that I'd put in here on the daily that appears, that you don't see as prominently on the weekly, but this like 720, 721 level, you see that draws back here as well and plays a factor. And even here a bit, right? These larger candles kind of topping out close to that level. So that would be my question at the moment, in terms of like, can it turn things around? That would be a pretty telling tale, depending on what happens on Tuesday. Does it just give up this uptrend support, or is it able to hop back in and really start to put some pressure on the 670 and then 721 levels? That's the best case scenario to my mind. If it's not able to hold it, I think there's probably a couple of possibilities. One, it could be setting up in just a little bit of a wider angle here, right? So maybe it's going to draw on something like this. If it's going to find some uptrend support, it could also find a range, right, between this like 6.25 and 670 level and just kind of range bound itself for a while. It's a little bit of what it was doing here before it got a little bit more erratic. Or of course, it could continue to draw down further. And if so, does that like $5.50 level, we'll call it, hold, and even before then, does that $6 level hold, right? I'll put that one in for the time being, because to me that's pretty key level, not only because it's played a strong role recently. You see support here and then you clearly see resistance here. I wouldn't negate that. And then support, but just the psychological aspect of that nice round number of $6, and the level, or sorry, the factor that could play in determining whether this is going to have any chance of even, like I said, kind of consolidating or turning things around, versus flipping that $6 level to resistance and then just kind of putting itself a bit back in no man's land again and wondering, where could it possibly be finding a bottom here? But that's what I'd pay attention to in the very, very near term. What does it do with 6? What does it do with this uptrend support? And if it loses 6, to my mind, okay, does 567 hold? I don't know. Then it's sort of like up for grabs again. Or if it does show some bullish strength, is it able to do any flipping here around 6.25 and 670 and so on, following this uptrend support? So that's what I would be looking at headed into the week. I'm not currently playing ZEV. I think I mentioned that at the beginning, but I have in the past. But we'll see if it could, start to get interesting at all. And it certainly has the possibility to have these wildly erratic movements, right? And, interesting catalysts. And unfortunately for the bulls, none of them have held over time. And that's why I've kind of gotten in and gotten out periodically. But we'll see if it's able to put anything together, or, what it wants to do tomorrow. All right, speaking of tomorrow, I hope that your trading week gets off to a good start, and it's a short and relatively useful one. For useful, whether you're learning things or actually making money or what have you. All right, folks, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.